everybody seems to be using this buzzword, sustainability. Now, is it just a PR stunt, or are people actually being sustainable? Is the tech industry actually being sustainable? Does AI reduce energy consumption if it requires massive data centers which run 24/7?
Go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Talknovate podcast. I'm your host, Rikenwa Onoge, but you can call me Coach Riki, and you can reach out to me on Instagram at Coach Riki. Today, I'm talking about technology and the big elephant in the room, sustainability. So my topic is technology and sustainability, the future of technology. Is it the future of technology? Okay, so one thing that has happened in recent years from diverse industries within the tech space, from AI to blockchain to the energy industry, electric vehicles, is everybody seems to be using this buzzword, sustainability. Now, is it just a PR stunt, or are people actually being sustainable? Is the tech industry actually being sustainable? In recent times, there has been certain controversies that has come up that sparked certain conversations around sustainability and the tech industry. For me personally, while I was studying for my master's degree in computer science at the University of Atlanta State University in the UK, my thesis was on renewable energy. So I developed, or rather I enhanced, a software application that enabled people to know when to use, or to enable people to utilize renewable energy in a conservative way. And so that was actually my introduction into sustainability. And then I remember moving back to my country, Nigeria. Lots of people started using like solar power as an alternative source of electricity, which is actually sustainable. And moving down the line, moving to Dubai, I got a free ticket to Expo 2020 Dubai. Then I did a competition, a UN competition, which I won. And I got free ticket to the rest of the show. And I also learned about like sustainability goals. I actually got a certification on that from the UN. And that's how my journey really sparked my interest on sustainability. Now, because I'm into the tech space, I kept wondering, how can tech be sustainable? So I got the privilege of attending COP28 in Dubai, and I met lots of people across different spheres, from religion to technology to like energy, like just different aspects of different industries coming to talk about how they are going to be more sustainable to be able to achieve UN's goals. And so in my conversation, one of the tech experts, I'm not sure which of the companies, but one of the big tech companies, I remember he was giving a speech, and I was asking about sustainable tech, like how are you ensuring your tech is being sustainable if you're using like huge data centers that emit data centers that use large form of, if you're using large data centers for your company, like how are you making it sustainable? That's something that was big on my mind, and I was really intrigued by sustainable tech, how to make tech more sustainable. So COP28 was actually an eye-opener for me. It gave me insight into how tech can be sustainable. And then I started doing research on my own, and so I pointed out 3 questions that people have been asking about technology and how sustainable it is. So people say, question 1, is your electric car actually better for the environment if the battery is made from conflict minerals? 2, does AI reduce energy consumption if it requires massive data centers which run 24/7 to sustain the AI, to keep it available for everyone to be able to use across the globe? Because I remember recently, I think that was sometime early last month, on one of the huge AI platforms that everyone is accustomed to, it wasn't available for some hours. And beyond technology, I'm also into technical writing and content writing. And I remember when that happened, I said, well, thank God I have years of experience. I can just, do a lot of things myself manually. But I know that all these platforms, AI platforms, do need large data centers that have to be run continuously. So what is the source of electricity running it? Is that sustainable? It's the question people are asking. Finally, one other controversies or controversial question people are asking the tech industry concerning sustainability is Bitcoin bad for the planet, or is that just what banks want you to think? Because as you know, Bitcoin is like the future of fintech, is the future of banking, and or rather, there's been lots of conversations about it being the future of banking. I actually think that it is the future of banking. So people are saying, okay, is it really sustainable, or are banks trying to make you think that it's bad for the planet just for like maybe due to like conflict of interest? So those are questions people are asking. So for me, I feel like tech can be sustainable. The question is, where does the energy come from? So if you have a tech startup, or you have like a tech platform, maybe like a cloud platform, and people are using your platform globally, but to run your data centers, you're using electricity 24/7. If you're using renewable energy, then you're being more sustainable than someone else, than a competitor or like a colleague in the industry who is not using renewable energy. And even for me recently, even when it comes to our everyday lives, because as you know, the heart of this podcast, Talknovate, is talking about innovation, technology, and its impact on our daily lives. So even when it just comes to the little things, as little as using sustainable power banks, like there's some power banks that utilize solar power, that being charged by solar power, or just using it, if you are in Africa, where like in my country, Nigeria, people tend to use alternative source of electricity to be able to have constant power supply. And some people use fuels, generators, and some people use solar panels. So solar panels obviously is more sustainable. So there are little changes that we can make in our everyday lives to just make sure that we are contributing in our own way to having a greener planet for our generation, and most importantly for the next generations and generations to come. So I also noted down certain things that people have been talking about, and that probably has been an issue. But there's some platforms or some companies that are getting it right. And I feel like if a brand is getting it right, I feel like, yes, we can actually applaud them for being sustainable, for contributing to a greener planet. So we have Tesla and Rivian, which use the EVs that are reducing fossil fuel reliance. And so I think that is amazing, because they are reducing the reliance on fossil fuels. And then we also have cloud providers like Google and Microsoft that are transitioning to carbon neutral data centers. So because data centers have to be powered like 24/7, so transitioning to carbon neutral data centers just makes the planet, a bit more greener. It's definitely more sustainable than using the traditional source of power to power these data centers. And then we have blockchain projects like Chia, I hope I pronounced that well, and Cardano, using proof of stake instead of the energy hungry proof of work that just consumes so much energy. So these are the brands that I feel are getting it right, are in their own ways. And for us individually, we can also get things right as well. So definitely using renewable source of energy, that also helps, and also minimizing waste. So one thing I love, also those of you who know me personally know that I'm also a fashion and lifestyle model. And so one of the modeling jobs I did towards the end of last year, it was actually for a forum on sustainability, which was held here in Dubai. And so the fashion designer I worked for, she was showcasing her collection, which was sustainable. So sustainable fashion is also a big thing now, which is amazing. You have fashion designers out there that use sustainable products. They are clothing made out of like plastics, clothing made out of waste, trying to minimize waste. So waste products that are being thrown out, people are reusing it, recycling those products to create fabric. And I feel like that is so amazing for the planet as well. And also the technology behind that, the software behind that, the machinery, the automation. There are lots of AI automation platforms out there now that are used to like recycle these materials to, like minimize waste and just make the planet healthier than what we have right now. So that is totally amazing. And definitely have a long life cycle using software tools that, or rather more like hardware tools that have a long life cycle. Because if you have, so for example, let's say you are a manufacturer, you have 3D glasses, and the lifespan of that glass is only probably like 1 year, and after that people have to like discard it to use something new again. Sometimes I feel like some manufacturers might be too profit hungry and just feel like, you know what, let me just use the cheapest stuff, the cheapest kinds of materials that is not durable for the long haul. But if you're trying to be sustainable, then you realize that, okay, this is going to increase the waste. So using durable materials that can sustain, using durable materials that can have a longer lifespan does help to minimize waste and helps to make the planet greener than we left it. And so if you guys have any suggestions on how you can be more sustainable, like in your day-to-day lives, or how tech industries can be more sustainable, please send an email to talknovate@gmail.com, or just drop your comments below. Or if there are any brands, if there are any tech brands out there that you feel is getting it right, yes, I mean, like, leave that beautiful reviews, leave that comments on their social media handles. I feel like it's good to commend people when they are getting it right, and also carefully correct people with love when they're, getting it a little bit wrong. So beyond just the tech brands and that I've highlighted that are doing it right and that have made some great impact when it comes to being sustainable, I also want to touch on certain tech industries that are actually doing a great job in sustainability. So leading the way in sustainable tech, I'll say smart grids. We have AI powered energy grids that help to cut waste. We also have eco-friendly AI, so there are machine learning models that help to optimize energy use. I remember when I was in the UK, one thing I really loved was there was this smart power system, smart lighting system. So when you walk into a room and it uses like sensors, automated sensors. So when it realizes that you are no more in that part of the room, the light automatically goes off. So that helps to like conserve energy, making it more sustainable. And so those are just, I know those are just certain kind of AI inventions that just helps people to sustain energy. And now with the big wave of artificial intelligence, there are even more sophisticated machine learning models that help to minimize energy more, and also help to like switch to renewable energy when there's like a high source of solar, or whether it's wind energy. There's so many other kinds of renewable source of energy, or rather renewable sources of energy out there that one can use. And then we have recycle tech, which I spoke on earlier on, which the fashion industry, some people in the fashion industry are capitalizing on to produce sustainable fashion. So we have companies like Fairphone and Framework Laptop making we have companies like Fairphone and Framework Laptop making modular repairable gadgets. And so that's another thing, beyond just using like durable materials that last a long time, you also have to use materials that can actually be repaired. Because the reality of life, or rather the reality on ground, is if you're using a product for a long time, you're using a certain product, a certain tool, there might be like certain defects that just come naturally with age, or anything can happen. The device might fall down, but can it be repairable? If you are a laptop manufacturer, you're a phone manufacturer, is it easily repairable? And these are things that I feel like innovators should actually take into consideration. And now, one thing I love about Dubai, we have like smart houses that are actually being, sustainable. One of the highlights of my experience working in Expo 2020 in Dubai, I remember even in the real estate industry, there's this developers that had movable housing made with wood, so you can actually, and I feel like that is so amazing, especially for tech nomads like me that like to travel and work remotely, just for the fact that you don't have to traditionally, like in Africa where I'm from, you build your house in one place and it stays there. But now with this movable housing, you can actually be in, for example, in Dubai and decide, you know what, I think I want to move to Abu Dhabi, like spend like 3 weeks there, and you can actually move your apartment. I mean, that is amazing. That's amazing. I can't wait for that technology to become used mainstream, to become widely used. And I think that's probably like the future of housing, but it's also more sustainable and more manageable. It is, I just feel like there are creative ways that we can be more sustainable, and we can also do that in our little way, even if it's just educating people on how to be sustainable and sustainable tech, like what I'm doing right now with this podcast. And they're just little things that we can do in our everyday lives to make our planet more green. And so how can you use sustainable tech? So there are 3 real ways to integrate sustainable technology into our everyday lives, whether it's in our jobs or in our personal lives or just at home. So number 1 is switching to decentralized cloud storage, and that can really help for those of us that are web application developers or even content creators. You're in filming, you use like large you have to have like large storage or pay for large storage because of the size and the resolution of the video, for example, or the images. So it's important to switch to decentralized cloud storage. There are platforms like Storage and Filecoin that use spare storage instead of giant data centers. So that's something that the tech industry and even just brands that we should look into, or businesses should look into. And then using secondhand electronics, refurbished devices actually reduce e-waste. I know that many people tend to feel like, no, it has to be brand new, and I get it. I actually do love brand new products, because if you just look at it in the long run, it just feels like, okay, you know what, I don't have to keep repairing and keep fixing. But the truth is, there are actually some refurbished products out there that last a long time. The iPhone that I've been using for I've been using my iPhone for about 4 years now. It was actually refurbished, and it worked very well. I actually didn't think it would work that long, but I actually didn't think it would last longer than 1 year. But yeah, I've used it for about 4 years now till I stopped. And then we also have like refurbished laptops. There are second-hand electronics devices that you can use. Of course, there are different grades of it. One thing I actually commend Apple and some other big tech brands for is that if you want to upgrade your phone, for example, you can just if you can buy like an iPhone 7, like let's say you had an iPhone 14 and you want to upgrade to iPhone 16, you can bring the iPhone 14 in and pay additional money and get your iPhone 16. So that is a way that I feel like Apple is trying to be, more sustainable, trying to like reduce waste. And so I just encourage everyone out there, if you're a startup, you're starting up a business, and you won't spend all that money on brand new laptops, you might just try to consider refurbished laptops. It probably might work exactly the same way as the brand new or clothes. It might just have maybe certain dents that can be fixed. So I think these are ways that we can contribute to being sustainable in our use of technology as end users, and also as manufacturers. You're manufacturing a new product. For example, let's say you're a phone brand. You can use refurbished products to actually create, you can use refurbished products, refurbished materials to actually create your products, and it just makes it better. You can use recycled materials, and there's so much out there. I know that this is not what we are used to, but we're educating ourselves to get better at it. So please consider using refurbished products. And if you don't have if you are trying to learn on how do I get in my industry, you may not be into technology directly, but whatever field you're at, I mean, like, there's so much information out there on Google, and thanks to artificial intelligence right now, that makes things easier for you. So you can literally just go to ChatGPT and say, you know what, I'm producing this material, or rather I'm coming up with this clothing line, or I'm coming up with this product, and I want it to be more sustainable. Can you suggest sustainable ways for me? You would definitely see options. I feel like seek and you shall find. So moving forward, there's some powerful tools out there. There's some software which I would highlight in the description below the comment section that can help you to track your digital carbon footprint. So many brands are doing that, and even you as an individual, if you're just trying to figure out how to be more sustainable, there's so many platforms out there that you can use to track your digital footprint as an individual and as a brand, as a company, and also as a tech startup or entrepreneur. So there are extensions like Ecosia, which is a search engine that plants trees, and apps like Gelbug that help you reduce energy waste. And they're also even for charities, and so there's some charities where you can donate money and they use your contributions to plant more trees, which makes the planet more sustainable. And so if we want a tech-driven future, we have to use tech responsibly. So beyond the tech brands trying to use recycled materials, refurbished products, or trying to use products that are repairable and are durable for a long time, even us as end users, we do have a responsibility to use tech more responsibly. Like, how much is your screen time? There are so many apps out there that can help you minimize your screen time, or tell you, oh, you spend this amount of hours just surfing the net doing probably nothing really productive, which in the long run will help you minimize, will help you conserve your battery longer, which will help you utilize less power in charging your battery. So this is just a little way in which you can decide to be more sustainable. You can decide to reduce your screen time, whether it's on TV, and just to focus on the most important things. Because if we're honest, there was a time where I did a bit of a personal self-reflection. I was trying to figure out how long I spent on my phone, and so there are times where I'm on WhatsApp, I'm chatting with maybe friends, or I'm on a social or other social apps like maybe Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. And then initially, I might start out the first 20 minutes, I might be doing something productive, and then later on I find I'm just having conversations that are not really impactful. Or even if I'm not having conversation, I'm just like scrolling through pictures, and 30 minutes has gone by, 1 hour, 2 hours has gone by, 3 hours has gone by, and I'm realizing, wait, out of the 3 hours, like whatever I did in this digital space, I was only productive there for maybe like 30 minutes, and I've wasted all these other hours. Now I've ran out of battery, and then I have to utilize more power to charge it. And then if you are at a part of the world where there's no widespread access to like sustainable sources of power or renewable energy, then you might have to then use maybe a generator. You now have to buy fuel, so you're emitting more carbon in the air. So it is like a long slippery slope. So these are things that we can do to be a bit more sustainable. Or you might have a device that you're no longer using. Maybe you try to repair it and it's not working anymore. Instead of just throwing it away, you might just go to like a repairer or like a brand. Some of all this engineering shops that need all this spare materials, and just donate it. You can donate it or you can sell it. Some people actually, I remember back in my country, in Nigeria, in Lagos to be precise, there are actually some shops that repair phones and laptops where you can just take out if you've been trying to fix your laptop, it's not working anymore, you can actually sell it as scrap, and then so they buy it from you for a little fee, and then they use that for repairing like other phones or other laptops or other devices. So that is a way where you can actually be more sustainable, and beyond even technology, beyond even being a responsible tech user, even when it comes to like plastics. In most places in the world right now, there are dustbins where you can actually put in throwaway plastics that can be recycled and used. So there's so many ways that we can be more responsible in using products, more sustainable in using technology. And so, yes, so in summary, what I would say is, yes, even though, let's be honest, there's so many brands that are just adding the green title for like a PR stunt, or just talking about sustainability because it's like the big buzzword. I feel like within the last year and a half, artificial intelligence and sustainability has been the big buzzwords in the tech space, and many people just use that, but you actually can go beyond just using it as a buzzword to actually practicing it in your everyday lives as a tech end user, and also as a tech manufacturer, whether you're in the software space or in the digital space, a content creator, or if you're in the hardware space as well. There's just so many things we can do. So it is possible for technology to be sustainable, and it's possible for us to be more responsible in our use of tech. So sustainable tech isn't just a label, it is a real commitment that all of us are responsible for. All of us are responsible to be more sustainable. And so the future depends on how we use tech and not just what we create. I'm so happy that there's this big boom on innovation. There's so many people out there that, are starting having multiple streams of income. They're, having their own mobile applications, their web applications, trying to automate certain mundane tasks, or just building platforms like e-commerce platforms. So many things are happening out there in the world that I'm really excited about. And even just the social media space that's opened a whole new industry for content creators to be able to earn and just make wealth, or rather build wealth. Nowadays, thanks to the digital space, there are no more gatekeepers. You can actually be an actress and just be acting on YouTube and putting out your content on YouTube and creating your own community and building your own fan base. So there's so much out there that technology has done for us, but it is our responsibility to be responsible in our use of tech and to be more sustainable in all our practice. So if you found this episode valuable, if you've learned something new of how to be more sustainable, please, I'd like to hear from you. Drop your comments below. Please don't forget to like this episode, share it with all your loved ones, or anyone you feel might want to learn something about sustainability and technology. And it is the future of technology. It is my hope that we be more sustainable in our practices, and also for the innovators like me out there, I would just charge you to, or rather I'll implore you to try and think of more sustainable, innovative solutions that you can actually create, solutions that would help people to be more innovative. And yes, so thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and if you have any inquiries, send you an email to talknovate@gmail.com. I'll be happy to respond. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.